It's the PGA Championship week. Welcome, everybody, to Tea Time. I am Andy from WagerTalk.com, being joined, as always, by my fellow golf betting expert, Nick Borman. Also, from WagerTalk.com, we got a great show. We are going to break down the course, the players. We're going to give you some long shots. We're going to give you some DFS lineups. We're going to give you the total strokes gained. There's no time to waste. Let's get started with our one and dones. Listen, these majors, you got to make some really good picks and pick some big names because the prize money is outrageous at some of these majors. So, Nick, I'll start with you. Who is your one and done? After a nice week, you pulled ahead of me. Russell Henley was not friendly. I almost used a bad word, but he was not friendly to my bankroll last week. So we move on to this week. Who you got one and done?
Rory. It's a like I should have. Obviously, hindsight is I should have been all over with the Masters, and that was the chance to use them. I didn't. So, yeah, it's one of the big three for me this week. I think we would agree: Scotty, Rory, or Bryson. It's just like one of those is going to win. So I'm going to say Bryson for the U.S. Open. I mean, if there's one major geared towards Rory, it's this one, right? He's won 4 times here. This is it. So I'm going to go Rory on this one. I don't have to explain any stats, but between the three, that's my reasoning for Rory. I already used Scotty, so it's just Rory or Bryson. It's Rory.
Yeah, I'm going with Bryson. It speaks for itself. He's been playing great. This is, I think, maybe his best year of golf outside of, when he, probably last year when he won the major. But he's just dialed in. Looks great. Long off the tee. Playing really good on live. He's championship caliber. So, yeah, we're each going in on 2 of the big 3 this week. So, yeah, Rory and Bryson, I think those are 2 pretty obvious picks. So let's talk Quail Hollow. Have you ever been to this course in person?
I have not, unfortunately, but I guess the good news is, unlike most majors, we know a lot more history of the course and a lot more data to look at than normal. So, but I haven't been there.
Yeah, me neither. Let's talk Quail Hollow here a little bit. This monster is playing at 7,600 yards and is a par 71.
Wow.
Oh, man. If you've seen some of the social media videos that are trickling out, the rough, this is a major. The rough is brutal. It's really long. It's got an incredible closing 3 holes on this course. You have to torch the par 5s. I think that's one of the biggest things that you're going to have to see this week. Nick, I'm guessing the winner is going to go -9 on the par 5s this week. Do you think that's accurate? Like -9 and then hope to get -5 on the rest of the holes? How do you see Quail Hollow?
That's exactly right. You have to attack the par 5s and then just hope, hang on the rest of the way. And if you just score on the par 5s, that was Tiger's mantra. You just score on the par 5s. It's going to kind of put you in that bucket of the winning score here, that's traditionally shown. Rory last year hit 17 under, and Xander was second at 12, and nobody else was double digits, just to give you an idea of kind of his score was in a little bit of an anomaly. But, yeah, I think that's really it. You mentioned how long it is. The truth of this week is, and I texted Andy a graphic this morning, but the long iron play is very, very important this week. It's not about who can stuff in the most wedges, because you're not going to have a lot of wedges in your hand on your approach shots. It's going to be wedges, around the greens because you missed something, but it's not full swing type wedges this week. It's more of a bucket from 150, really 175 and up. Last week we talked about cricket, distance not being a factor. In fact, most of the guys we circled and talked about were what we call plotters, or the shorter hitters, because they have a chance, Straka being one of them. This week is kind of like Augusta National. If you do not have the distance, you are not going to compete. I think it's that simple. So you have to have at least moderate distance. You don't have to necessarily be Rory or Bryson, but you got to be able to poke it out there pretty good. 2-3 clubs longer on every approach shot. It just adds up over 72 holes, and you're just not going to be able to compete. So it was funny listening to Sepp Straka post round kind of press conference. I mean, he even said it. He's like, I'm glad I won this week because Quail Hollow does not fit my game. It is too long. It's going to be very difficult for me. I mean, he flat out said it. So it just proves the players know that. And if you aren't putting premium on distance this week, there's no other tournament that matters, as much. So it would be silly not to put a premium there. You have to look at distance off the tee. Obviously, everything is going to matter. Who can hit their irons the best after that, and who can scramble putt, sure. But if you do not have distance, you are not going on my betting card this week, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we saw the rough really give players trouble, especially on Saturday and Sunday. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and that rain and drizzle that we had, like kind of leading into the tournament, and then in the tournament, that rough just grew, and you hit it in the rough, and it was really, really bad. I think it's going to be the same this week. Justin Thomas has had success at this course again, bomber, long hitter. So yeah, these poor guys like Straka, JT Poston, Brian Harmon. These are guys you're gonna have to look at to try and fade in head-to-head matchups. I agree. It's just gonna be a little bit too much for him. So favorite hole, there's a lot of them. I'm gonna go to the 16th hole, Nick. This one is just what a brute. 16th hole, 529 yard par 4. Par is going to be a good score on this hole. Guys will be really happy to walk off with par. There's a bunker on the right side of the fairway. It's like 320 yards up. It's on the right side. The longer guys, if they want to swing for the fences and carry it just past the bunker, there's a little bit of a downhill roll, which will make your approach into the green easier. But most guys are just not going to want to be in that bunker because the approach coming out of a bunker's a nightmare. So they're going to go to the left, and it's just you're going to have 230, 240 yards going into this green. And the green, bunker on the right, water long, water left. Any inaccurate shot on this hole, you got bogey, and you're going to bring a bigger score into play. Every single shot on this hole has to be perfect just to get a par. I don't think we'll see many birdies on this one. So it's a brutal stretch, and it's a great 16th hole. 18th hole, I love this one, Nick. I only give out one perfect score. It's Augusta's 18th hole. But man, this one, this one's creeping up there. This one's going to get a high rating from me. It's 500 yards. We'll call it 500, 494. There's a stream on the left side of the fairway that runs the entire length. So no matter what shot you're hitting, you've got this annoying little stream on the left side. It goes all the way past the green. So any shots that go left are in trouble. In fact, if you're going to miss left, you actually want to miss way left. So you at least don't put yourself in the stream, and you can at least get it back in the fairway to try and salvage a bogey. The green is it's a nice green, but there's bunkers all over the right side, and this is another one. You just got to be perfect on this hole. You cannot drift it a little bit left. You put it right off the tee, you're in some rough with a bad angle. I give this one an 8.8, Nick. I love this hole. I think all I'm looking for in the 18th hole is drama. Can this hole provide us drama? And I think it can. This is if you got two guys that are tied or within one shot going into 18, this is a great hole. So those are my two favorites.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. So obviously the 16th, 17th, 18th, that 3-hole stretch is what people are talking about, called the Green Mile, right? So this information I'm going to say it's available. The PGA Tour put an article out yesterday about that kind of stretch and how the holes play. So last year they played over 900 holes on the PGA Tour, right? All the tournaments combined. 16th, as you mentioned, ranked as the 32nd hardest hole out of 900 plus. That's just in relation to par, right? Not total score, in relation to par. So that includes all par 5s, 4s, and 3s. So that ranks 32nd. 17th ranked as the 24th hardest hole. Wow. And number 18 ranked number 1, a full half a stroke average over par. So you got number 1, number 24, and number 32 out of 900 plus holes here to finish this golf tournament. So if you get through there without any bruising on your body, I mean, you're already gaining probably over a full shot on those 3 holes combined on the field. So I doubt anybody's going to get through there 4 straight rounds without making a couple of mistakes, but you can minimize on that stretch. You're probably going to be having a pretty good week.
That's a great prop bet. Will anybody get through 16, 17, and 18 all 4 rounds? It's not happening. It's not happening. Take the no. There's going to be at least one bogey there. So that's Quail Hollow. Just quick weather, perfect. I don't see any rain. I don't see much wind. 11 miles an hour is the worst I see, and I don't see any rain. Even Wednesday before, there's only a 20% chance of a little bit of rain, so I don't think we're going to have moisture. Looks like it should be pretty good weather for the entire tournament. So let's talk total strokes gained, Nick. Look, we bring up this graphic every week, and we talk about total strokes gained last 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Of course, it's major, so it's going to be full of the biggest name guys. Because it's major, we're going to talk about each one of these guys on the list. So initially, what's your first reads on this?
Well, we were perfect going into last week, 7-0 between the signatures and the Masters, of the winners being in the top 10. Last week, Seb Straka was number 15. So that streak was broken. So 7-1 this year that the winner in these big events has come from this graphic. I would be hard pressed to think it's not going to happen this week, especially with those top three and how well they're playing and the amount of money. You know what's disheartening this week, Andy? And I know this is a golf betting show. We're talking about who to bet and what to bet. If you add up Scotty, Rory, and Bryson's implied value, right, their percentage likelihood to win based on the odds makers are providing, it's over 50%. The crappy thing is the next wave, it's not even adjusted back the other way. You're still getting like 20-1 on Xander, 22-1 on Justin, and these are the best numbers available. So some are in the teens. I hate to say it, but honestly, I don't think there's value on any sort of outright bet this week because of those top three and how much implied value. I get it. They're taking a lot of heat on it, but the books want it both ways. They either just can't set the lines properly or they're just scalping at its finest. But I just want to say I'm very frustrated with this week's pricing. I'm fine if you put the top three where you are, but you need to give us some skin on the bone in the next wave. They're not even worth betting at these prices. You got to get, your Morikawas and your Xanders and your JTs closer to 30-1 to have a fair, true implied value if you're giving 50% of those top three. So I digress.
No. I'm going to jump in. You are 100% right. They've done this in multiple sports. They did this to us in NASCAR. You used to be able to get guys at 15 to 20-1 that had a legit shot at winning. Those days are long gone. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. That is a very fair take, and it's 100% right. These numbers are laughable. They are laughable on outright winners. So as we have a betting audience, and yeah, there's no way we're the only ones that have noticed this. You are 100% right. Guys like Xander and JT and Colin Morikawa. Yeah, you got to give us 35-1. So I don't think that's a bad take at all, and I think you're completely justified in calling out some of the books that have put out these laughable numbers. So yeah, all right, let's keep talking about strokes game.
A damn shame to our hardworking money trying to beat them. Shame on them. It's hard enough to win as it is. So anyway. With that being said, of course, we're still going to try to, make our best educated guesses here and lead you in the right direction of who would be the smarter bet. But obviously, we should spend a little time talking about these top three guys, Andy, Scotty, Rory, Bryson. They're going to get the most attention, deservedly so. I think Rory, after the Masters win, if you didn't have him circled to go back-to-back majors here and win at Quail Hollow where he's won 4 times, you're crazy. But then the hesitation kind of settles in after we watch Scotty dominate the Byron Nelson a few weeks back, and it reminds you of, okay, if this guy is back to his self and his last year's type of data, it's hard. He's the best driver of the golf ball. He ranks number 1 in strokes gained off the tee. Rory's got more distance, but Scotty hits more fairways. And if you're missing fairways here, I think that will add up. So it does make me hesitate. The one factor I'll add back to Rory on this one, and my reasoning, if you're going to look at those top three, the reason I'm going with Rory, is the course history. Scotty's never actually played here in a tournament before. And Bryson, he played here back in the day before his LIV departure, but he has limited history as well. So if you're going to give an edge to course history, it's got to be Rory, obviously. But I do hesitate a little bit with Scotty coming back. Otherwise, I wasn't even going to bring him up. He was a hard pass for me, but he looked awesome at the Byron Nelson. If he plays like that, he is going to be hard to beat. Forget about the course history. But what's your take on the top three there, Andy? They're obviously all head and shoulders kind of above this field, and
sure,
probably going to be one of those guys. It really feels like it's going to be one of the guys. But the PGA Championship, if you look at the history of this major compared to any other one, this is the one that can give you 100-1 winners, right? Rich Beams and your Keegan Bradleys, like there are what? Who? So maybe, but what do you think about these top three guys?
Yeah, they're in a tier by themselves. They should be. The worry for Bryson is he can be a little sporadic on his approaches. Sometimes he's been fine in the majors. So I've watched him on Live. There's a lot of laughing and joking and trying some hero shots, So, he drove a 400-yard a hole and was running up and down, high-fiving the crowd. You're obviously not going to see that at this one. So that's my worry with that one. Scotty, I've seen him get upset. this year a couple times, which is very unlike him. And this course can do that to you. So my worry with Scotty is, does he get down on himself? Because you get down on yourself, even if it's for, a stretch of 5 or 6 holes, it can take you out of it. Rory, it's just 4th round putting Rory. That's my big concern with him. Like when we get to the 4th round, can he do it? Yeah, he did it at the Masters, but how many times have we seen him just, blow it in the 4th round? So I'm picking my one and done. If he made me bet on one of them, it's Scotty. I love the way he looked. I think he's rounding into the perfect form. So, but those are my 3 concerns for all of them. If we can take a look at that graphic again, I'll just eliminate Russell Henley from the conversation.
Yeah.
He doesn't hit it that far. Tommy Fleetwood, he's not going to win. We know that. But, he's probably going to play pretty good. Hideki Matsuyama, good luck trying to figure out what that guy's going to do this year. Justin Thomas Justin Thomas, I think, is playing much better. I wouldn't be surprised to see him near it. I like Colin Morikawa a lot this week. His approach numbers are just barely behind Scotty. And you talked about the long irons. That's a guy that ball striking is his game. I think he'll play well. Xander, I'm not ready to bet on Xander just yet. Not at a major. He's good. I don't think he's back to being great. John Rahm, his first rounds on live tours are disasters most of the time, Nick. He gets off to the worst starts. And if he does that here this week, good luck trying to catch guys.
Yeah.
That's my worry for him. So, and then Joaquin Niemann, do you know he doesn't have any top 10s at any major ever in his career, and yet I don't know why people consider him a threat.
Yeah, the LIV purists tell us that he's the best bet in any major every single time. But you're right.
Yeah, whatever. He's also a front runner that gives up when the going gets tough. I watched him just quit and throw in the towel if things don't go well. So Shane Lowry, not sure he's long enough to really get into contention there. And Cantlay, I don't know. His numbers look good. I can't poke holes in many of his numbers, but you just can't put together 4 consistent rounds on that one. So I just keep eliminating guys, and you end up with the top 3.
Andy, I want to hit on one thing you said about the slow start with Rahm, right? So this year, you mentioned round 1. This year on the PGA Tour, the furthest anybody has sat as far as the actual leaderboard goes after round 1 was Rory McIlroy at the Masters, tied for 27th. Okay. And that was the furthest back anybody's been after round 1 to come back and win a tournament. In fact, only 3 people have ranked outside the top 16. Every other tournament, you've been in the top 16 after round 1. So, yes, we know you can't win the tournament, as the saying goes on Thursday, but you can lose it immediately. And proof is in the pudding that if you are outside the top 20, you have a long way to climb back up. And when it's playing as hard and difficult as the course can be, and making up strokes is you're basically just relying on them to come back to you. It's not a winner's game. So you got to get off to a fast start. I'm saying that too because I'm trying to adapt my strategy where, the pre-tournament favorite or the pre-tournament betting, of course you're gonna get the best number, but there's a little something to be said to wait round 1, even wait to round 2. I mean, round 2 is ridiculous so Joe Highsmith was tied for 48th going into Saturday when he won the Cognizant Classic back in March. Since then, every single winner has been in the top 5 until Ryan Fox. He was tied for 7th last week in the other alternate event. But that's it. If you are further back than 7th place, you have not won after 2 rounds. So you can focus your live betting. Yeah, your numbers are going to be 3-1 to win instead of maybe 30-1 pre-tournament, but your chances of winning are much better and really starting to get towards it. I just wanted to throw it out there. You got to get off to a good start.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to get into some players that can trip you up, some DraftKings Darlings, and Nick's going to give you some outright winners. One of the outright winners Nick gave out last week was Mr. Sepp Straka. It was a fantastic call. Of course, did set up perfect for him. So absolutely fantastic call. I mean, listen, cash your outright winners, top 10s, top 20s, obviously. So big payday on Sepp Straka. Congratulations on that one, Nick. And that leads us to our promo. Nick and I each week, what should we promo? And this week we were like, you know what? hey, buy one, get one. You can get all of our PGA Championship picks, one price at $29. So you're basically getting a handicapper for free on this one. So me personally, I'm on a nice 19-11 run. I got off to a miserable start to the season, Nick. It was miserable. But we have righted the ship. We are positive. I've never had a losing season in golf since I've joined Wager Talk. So really, really proud of that. And Nick's giving you free outright winners. So might as well make the investment. $29, you get myself and Nick. You can go to either of our sites, wt.buzz/AL for me, wt.buzz/NB for Nick, or you just go to the deals page. It's up there. So PGA Championship, buy one, get one price, and it gets you all of our plays. And that includes even our daily picks. I do a lot of individual round scores and props and things like that. So you're going to get outright winners. You're going to get head-to-head matchups, top finishes, individual round plays, all of it, one low price. So check that out at Wager Talk. It's a great course. It's a great field. And I like our chances to turn a profit this week, Nick.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to some players that can trip you up. I'm just going to – I already ripped him before, so why not throw him in there, and I'll go with Joaquin Niemann. I just don't believe in him at majors. I talked about he doesn't handle adversity well. If he's not in contention, he just kind of gives up, and he's priced as a top 10 guy, but he's yet to finish in the top 10 at a major. So what gives here? Since he moved to LIV, he's missed the cut twice at majors, and his last two finishes at majors are 29th and 58th. Doesn't make any sense. These numbers aren't adding up. I don't care what the LIV narrative is. I just keep getting proven right about some of these LIV guys when it comes to the majors. So I no way I'm betting on Joaquin Niemann. If I get a great head-to-head matchup, I'm definitely going to be fading him. Like, please give me a top-tier guy on the PGA Tour. So, Joaquin Niemann, definitely a guy that I think can trip you up. I'm going back to Ludwig Aubert. Listen, this course should set up great for him. He's very long off the tee, as we know, but his accuracy has not been there this season. Even strokes gained approach around the green and putting, he's like even. Like, he's not gaining any strokes there, and he's coming off a 60th place finish last week. Nick, you remember the tournament where he went out in the first round and played great, and then he got real sick?
Yes.
And he withdrew? I'm telling you, he hasn't been the same since then. I don't know what illness he's had. Maybe it's just, a golfer, younger guy coming of age, or I don't know. But I just know that I watched him absolutely torch that first round. He got sick, he withdrew, and now all of a sudden we got 60th place finishes and 50th place finishes. I don't know what's going on with him. But again, if I get a great head-to-head matchup, I saw on some of the off-screen books, Colin Morikawa against Ludwig Aubert. Yeah, sign me up.
Wow.
Absolutely sign me up for that. His short game and his approaches just haven't been there. I don't think he's 100%. I'd love to know the backstory of what happened to him. But Ludwig Aubert is a guy I'm going to fade. And then Brooks Koepka, this is another one, Nick. I don't get it. I see the prices, and I don't understand why he's priced. He's priced as a top 15 guy. He can't break into the top 15 on LIV. He missed the cut at the Masters. This is not the Brooks Koepka that we watched in the 2000 teens. He's had injuries. His intensity isn't there. You just can't be betting on him at these prices in these loaded fields on the PGA Tour. He's another guy. I would love to get a really, really good price on fading Brooks Koepka. So, I'm just going to be betting against these LIV guys that I don't believe in. So, Joaquin Niemann, Ludwig Aubert, and Brooks Koepka, three players that I think can trip you up. All right, Nick. Nice job getting that Brooks Koepka picture in there, Dan. Fantastic job, brother. And I love the pictures you picked, especially Ludwig and Brooks. Very, very well done. All right, let's talk about an outright winner, a player that you do like. Let's go to your favorite. Who do you like this week, Nick?
I'm sure the viewers do not need us to tell them to bet Rory Bryson and Scotty. They probably don't need us to bet Justin Thomas either, but as the next guy, the next wave, the guy playing there, the guy that's won this major twice, right? The only one he has won so far. I'm not going to touch the top three for this segment, but 22-1, I don't love it. I think he should be, like I said earlier when I was, bemoaning the prices, he should be closer to 30, but it's what we have. So he's coming off the win at the RBC Heritage last month. He nearly won again last week at the Truist. He had a great chance until 16, missing that par putt that birdie putt for to really put pressure on him to get within a shot or tie the lead there near the end. So that ultimately cost him. But in this field, he ranks 4th in total strokes gained over the last 6 months, behind, of course, the top 3. He won his first PGA at Quail Hollow in 2017. So I get that that's going to be weird and hard to duplicate. I heard last night that only Tiger Woods has won this event on the same venue, and that was Medina twice. So nobody else has ever won a PGA Championship at the same course. So I guess history is against us in that situation. But it's an understatement to say he's got good vibes around here, right? He's won his first major here. He played in the Wells Fargo, used to be called the Wells Fargo, it's now called the Truist, where they play this every year. He plays there pretty regularly. He's finished in the top 26, tied for 26 or better, 5 of his 6 starts. So he's kind of always played decently there. I think a lot of that has to do with just his ability to get around the golf course with, a decent iron in his hand because he's got length. So again, I think a lot of this field is just eliminated because of length situation. So if you just have it, you're probably going to finish in the top half of the field, even if you're not playing great elsewhere in your game. But he has been. He also ranks 5th in strokes gained around the green. He's one of those he's kind of like Spieth in that department where he's got all the shots, man. He's got great hands. And he'll show. He'll hit a flop. He'll hit a bump and run. He'll hit a cut spinner. He'll do everything he can around the greens whatever is needed, and he can pull it off. So he's fantastic with the short game. These guys will be missing greens this week again. Remember, you're talking about a big bucket of shots coming from 175 yards and in. That means bigger proximity to the hole. That means likely misses around the green, and so the short game you're going to have to rely on. And then he can roll the rock pretty good. He actually ranks 20th this year in strokes gained putting. So, then there's the fact that he's simply hot. His last 4 starts, he's got a win and 2 runner-ups. So JT, he's going to give us a chance. He's going to be in contention. Will he get his 3rd PGA? I don't know. It's going to be hard to beat those top 3 guys, but for somewhat of a value, I guess, let's say, compared to those guys. That's what we'll say. Comparative value to the top 3. I don't think necessarily value on his price in general, but comparatively, I guess there's some value there on JT to make some noise. So I like Justin. I think he's going to have a good week.
I love it. I like Justin Thomas. The other guy that it's terrifying. Jordan Spieth is playing well. It's kind of like, Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth are
I
playing
loved
well.
watching him last week, man. There's something about the way Spieth gets around the golf course, his swagger. He's just cool, man. I like Spieth.
Yeah.
I hope he gets back to his winning ways soon.
I'm just gonna casually lob out there into the world that betonline.ag has Jordan Spieth versus Brooks Koepka. I'm just gonna lob that out there and let it manifest. Yeah. I'll do a little sprinkle there. So, all right, let's take a look at some DraftKings Darlings. These are guys that you can put as long shots, but I love these guys in DFS. And we're back to our winning ways, Nick. 2 really, really solid weeks in a row. Last week's lineup I put in a contest of 200 people and finished 36th. It was a great week. So let's take a look at Keith Mitchell, 6,200. I don't get this price at all. He's been playing great. 4 straight top 20 finishes. He's long off the tee, which we documented. His putting hasn't been great, but he's plus 0.54 around the green, plus 0.86 approach. He was the first round leader last week. So if he gets off to another good start, he's going to make a cut. He's going to give us valuable weekend points. I just love getting a guy who's long off the tee at 6,200. So
Andy, if you just convince him to wear a hat instead of a visor, he wins 5 times this year. That's all it is. I'm just going to say that. I'm done.
Keith Mitchell's definitely a great anchor on these lineups. Next, I'm going with JJ Spawn at 6,400. Spawn is long and accurate off the tee, so I think he's going to put himself in a lot of good positions on his second shot. He's shown upside, 2 runners up this year recently in a 17th place finish, so I get a little bit of upside here. Maybe he can sneak into the top 20. His putting has been good this year, plus 0.20. Approaches have been great, plus 0.87. Really solid price on JJ Spawn at 6,400. And then I'll throw Harris English in at 6,800, coming off an 11th place finish last week. 5 straight made cuts, including 3 top 18s. Again, a little bit of an upside. You guys know with these DraftKings Darlings, what we're really looking for is weekend points. Make the cut, get us points on Saturday and Sunday. but any type of upside, yeah, we're happy to take that. Putting has been lights out, plus 0.52 last 30 days. Approach, plus 0.62. Lack of distance off the tee is terrifying, but he's accurate. Listen, when you have DraftKings Darlings, you're just not going to get the perfect player. They're all going to have like a little weakness. So the lack of length is just going to be tough to watch, but we'll see. Just accurate irons, accurate putting. Hopefully it makes up for it. So Keith Mitchell, JJ Spawn, Harris English, those are 3 DraftKings Darlings. Again, my full DraftKings lineup is on my free article on my profile page, wt.buzz/AL. Free digital download. You get all the write-ups on the DraftKings Darlings, players that can trip you up, course preview, all that. So that's free up at wagertalk.com, wt.buzz/AL. And I'm stunned. We were talking about guys like bad prices on Morikawa and, Justin Thomas. This is a really good price on your little bit of a long shot. Talk us through this one.
I found one guy that I haven't seen a price next to him like this in a while, and I thought, we'll get to him in a second, or the fact that we both don't do well with him. But you mentioned the DraftKings Darlings and just getting the cut. I just wanted to throw the cut out and mention the cut in general. This week is 156 players in the field. It's the biggest field of any major. They actually do the cut at top 70 in ties. Normally it's 65 every week. So just throwing it out there for those that are looking at the cut market this week. You get a few extra guys in this going around Quail. But yeah, Patrick Cantlay. Full disclosure, anytime we talk about it, I think it's a you or it's me. Whoever talks about Patrick Cantlay, we always have to give a disclaimer up front. Warning. I've never, ever won a single bet on Patrick Cantlay, or he's never actually played well when I bet on Patrick Cantlay. However, yep. I should have done a deep dive on this to go back and find the last time we've seen 45-1 next to Patrick Cantlay, right? At worst, I'm seeing 40-1. I don't know. And I get it. He hasn't won recently, but he doesn't, he's still kind of just plods along. He doesn't flash it. In fact, I kind of hate how he plays. He's a little slow. He's kind of like, all right, just come on, Cantlay, do your thing. But he just bores you to death. He lulls you to sleep, and all of a sudden he finishes top 10. He comes tied for 4th last week at Philly, tied for 13th in his last start before that at the RBC Heritage. His ball striking numbers are elite, Andy, especially his long iron play. We talked about the distance. I think that's going to be a huge factor this week. You can make the argument with Xander winning last year. Cantlay's probably the next best player yet to win a major. Will he get that monkey off his back ever? I don't know, but he falls into that area of like he has the game to contend and he has the game to win a major. I just don't know if he has the closing ability to do it. But he's won big tournaments before. He's won the Memorial. He's won the FedEx Cup events. He's like the playoffs. He's done this before. It just hasn't been a major. He can do it. His game is rounding into form. He's quiet about it, but it's there. One stat I don't know that I've ever mentioned on this show, but I found interesting for Patrick Cantlay that I think is worth mentioning this week. Okay, it's called approach putt performance. Basically, it's a measure of lag putting. All right, so with approach shots being long this week, that means average proximity to the hole is going to be further away naturally. Well, being able to comfortably 2-putt all week, I think is going to add a few strokes over the course of the tournament to anybody's score. Cantlay ranks 2nd on tour in approach putt performance, lag putting. So he's averaging 1 foot and 10 inches on his first putt every time. So if you can consistently do that, where you're kind of, everybody's expecting the 2-putt a lot and you're just hoping to lag from 30, 40 feet away, maybe there's just half a stroke every day. Maybe that adds up to 2 or 3 or 4 strokes over the course of a tournament. And that we know every stroke matters out here. So maybe that just makes that extra bit of a difference to, again, catapult him a few extra spots up the leaderboard, give us that Sunday sweat, at least cash a top 10 plus 350, a top 20 plus 150. But I haven't seen 45-1 on Patrick Cantlay in a long time. I haven't won a bet on Patrick Cantlay in a long time either. But if there is anybody with a little value this week, I actually do think it's Cantlay.
Yeah, listen, Patrick Reed, before he left for Live, that was the guy that I couldn't hit a bet on to save my life. Cantlay's one. I actually hit a bet on Corey Connors last week, like a miracle. Yes. Miracle. Absolute miracle. Absolute miracle. Of course, he, really stuck it to me on my one and done. But like seriously, if I just showed you Corey Connors as like finishes, it could be like win, missed cut, win. I'd be like, well, you know which one I picked for his one and done. So Corey Connors is the new Patrick Reed and Patrick Yaley. At least his name's not Patrick. So, all right, guys, like button. Please hit the like button. It really, really helps us out. This is a really big week for us, video-wise, betting-wise. So hit the like button. Leave us a comment. Tell us who you like. Give us an outright winner. If you want to pick the top 3, go right ahead. But tell us in the comments section who you like, what you like betting. We read all the comments. I try and respond to as many as possible. So go ahead and put that in the comment section and subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you're doing that. We have a ton of great breakdown videos. Nick and I do this every single week for all the tournaments. You get notified when these videos are released. So really, really appreciate you guys. And take advantage of the buy one, get one. We run these specials like specifically for a reason. Like, we don't just make up these specials with no intent. It's a huge week. Nick's going to have all of his outrights. We're both coming off of really good stretches. Nick gave you an outright winner last week. I'm 19-11. So we're running pretty good in these sports over the last couple months. So take advantage of that. It's buy one, get one. You get both my plays and Nick's plays. You can get that at either our page, wt.buzz/NB for Nick and wt.buzz/AL for myself. That is going to do it for us here on Tee Time. Good luck, everyone. It is going to be such a fun golf tournament. Gnarly, rough, long. It's going to test these players. It's a major. There's so many storylines. So it's going to be a great one. And we're going to get back to you guys on Tuesday, recap everything, and hopefully have some winners for you. Take care. Good luck on your bets, and we will see everyone later.